Weezy.
Yeah, man.
Here we go again.
Yeah, man.
All right. MTV Unplugged.
Yes.
Man, what is Unplugged when you think of Unplugged and its legacy and all the gigantic acts that did that? Not everybody get to do an Unplugged. What do you think when you hear MTV Unplugged?
All I could really, like the first thought that really popped up in my head when Taz called me and said, you have to do Unplugged. I was like, MTV Unplugged? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I thought they don't do, I ain't think they do that no more. He was like, I don't know if they do. He was like, but they doing it for you. And I was like, that's kind of big. And the first thing I thought about was all of the artists' albums that I really liked, and remembering actually going and purchasing the MTV Unplugged album.
Wow, that's right. Huh?
I remember that. That's what that's the first thing popped up in my head was like, I remember getting in my whip, leaving my house, like going to the record store and being like, listening to the original version, getting to the record store, like, let me get that MTV Unplugged version. And I remember, when you got your whip, you got your CD case. That was like around first whip days, like first, second whip days, when you keep the CD case in the glove. All that's a feature in the car. Your CD case, everything. So I remember having a bunch of artists' original album and the MTV Unplugged album right next to it. So when he said that, was the first thing. I'm like, oh man, I'm having MTV Unplugged album.
Yeah, right. Any artists in particular that you remember?
I think in particular, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay-Z.
Yeah. I had the Jay Unplugged. Yeah. These days, the music game, you can come up with a 1, 2, 3, walking down the street, just you and me. And if they put a good beat to it, no matter who you are, you're an overnight success. I mean, at least for the moment. And these days, being a star for the moment is actually what it's about. You know what I mean? I remember when I was coming up, if you were a one-hit wonder, man, you were through. Like that was you actually, they had people that was one-hit wonders that killed themselves, literally. Because they just couldn't deal with being a one-hit wonder. But now it's different. So that's why I say he's not ready. I'm not gonna shove him in your face right now and make him a one-hit wonder. He's nowhere near ready. And so he's gonna do this the way artists should do it, the way Drake did it. You know what I mean? I met Drake, I could have put Drake out right then and there. I was just as impressed as I was with him today as I am now.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, I'm not gonna make a one-hit wonder. And that's when you say, oh, I like that, what you just said, let me put you out. Let me put you on my label and let me put you out because I like what you just said. Let me put that song out and make it. No, that's not what I do. And so that's why I put Corey there, and the answer to that question will be further in the future. Why I put Corey there.
Okay, we'll see down the line. So that then I can apply that same ideology to the other Young Money artists who've been sitting in the ranks, waiting to come out, whether it's Twist, Chucky, or Chanel. You still developing them. Is that why they're not out as much right now?
Those artists you just named are like a Twist. Twist is ready. Twist is a well-developed artist. And it's about to be Twist's turn. Chanel is past ready. Past ready. Actually, she came in the game ready.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no developing she needed at all. And I'll be the first to tell you that and the last to tell you that. There was no developing. That's a superstar. That's a very talented woman. It's just that you have to properly handle her situation the right way. Because you don't want nobody to miss the point. And the point is, that is a very talented woman. And that's what I want everybody to see. I don't want them to think, oh, she put out a real hot song. I want them to be like, this is the next somebody. And, that's what I'm doing with all my artists. That's why I just didn't shove Twist in nobody's face. I mean, I could have been like, this is our young artist, the young, cute little artist of the label with all the adults. You know how that used to work. Everybody had the kid, and I could have did that, but no. We're going to do this right. I'm not going to put out I didn't want to put him out and have him as a kid star, and then, sometimes you don't know what to do after that.
Yeah.
So now he's 18. He's a teenager, so I don't even have to look at the kid star thing no more. So it's just time.
I get the feeling you're going to be on tour for minimum at least 2 years. Is that accurate? With the next leg of your tour starting?
in 2 years, I'd be 31 years of age. I actually plan on being one of those artists that can go on a tour when they're like 40, like U2 and Michael Jackson. I actually plan on being one of those artists with all the music and all the work I'm putting out. I believe that later on down the line, I can do Vegas. You know what I mean? I can be the first hip hop artist to do Vegas every night. You know, so that's the plan. But yeah, I plan on touring forever, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, forever. I mean, probably when I'm about 50, I might still, let's say, let's go. Give me some dates. Let's go.
Every time I see you, I ask you about the Carter 4, and then, you know, things change.
Yeah.
You know, that's the nature of the business.
Exactly.
You know, so that's understood. It doesn't always happen exactly the way you want it to. But you revealed on this Unplugged a song that's going to be featured on the album, Nightmares at the Bottom.
Nightmares of the Bottom.
Nightmares of the Bottom. What does that title mean? Like that, when I heard the title, when I heard you say the title, I couldn't get any idea what that song might be about.
I mean, simply sleeping at the top with nightmares of the bottom. Everybody says lonely at the top. It is lonely. So I dream, though. And the only thing I dream about is being down there with the people that ain't lonely. Thank God I am alone.
Thank God you ain't alone.
Not thank God I am alone.
Oh, thank God you are alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is lonely up here, and thank God it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to be there?
Very good.
All right. Okay.
And that's simply what it is. Nightmares at the bottom. Sleeping at the top, nightmares at the bottom. Everybody want to be fly till you swat them.
I'm hearing a lot of strategy, you know, where I think most people think Wayne is just touring and in that studio, but it's easy for someone to think that. But strategically, are you aware that this upcoming summer, you could dominate the summer musically and from a business sense as well with Young Money?
Am I aware of it?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm very aware of it because I just dominated the last few summers. So I am very aware of that because I mean that's the goal. That's the goal, and I would love for people to think that I'm just on tour and just making music and just focusing on me, because I mean I don't want you to know what I'm actually about, because if you know what I'm about, then you figure me out, and if you figure me out, then you wouldn't be interested in what I'm doing. So every time I do something new, you're like, wow, I didn't even know he could do that.
I mean, you've been fooling me for, you know. Every time I see you, I go, well, look at the homie, okay. You rock star to Unplugged. You brought out Titty Boy.
Yeah, that's a close friend of mine. That's a close friend of mine. I felt this was an intimate setting, and I felt that I can be a little personal tonight. And personally, that's really a close friend of mine besides rap. You know, that's a real friend of mine. So I brought him out. I mean, I know that his song is one of my profound songs in the career of Lil Wayne, you know what I mean? So, and his verse is actually a profound verse. Yeah. A lot of people know, everybody knew his verse. You know what I mean? A lot of people may not know who sings the verse, but I know they know that verse, and so that was why tonight I made sure they know who sings.
That was a good look for him.
Yeah.
And he answered to the bell. He answered the bell.
Yeah.
Corey Guns, you know, I had a chance I've been on a few tour dates, as you know, with the I Am Music Tour. And I've had a chance to watch his evolution in that moment that you give him, you know, and I think watching him on this Unplugged probably was the best I've seen him to date.
Okay.
Why Corey? Do you bring him out?
I mean, mainly because I mean, you guys know how I do when I have an artist.
Yeah.
And you know, if I believe in an artist, I believe in them for some reason, and for some reason you guys are interested in the reason why I believe in them. So I know that, given the fact that I know that, I make sure that I set this guy up properly. And I mean, come on, what better way to set him up than have him on MTV Unplugged as the last verse that will be performed, that was performed at all tonight. You know what I mean? Like he does it every night on the shows as well. Even when, on tour, he's the final verse of the night. You know what I mean? And I also know that he's not ready.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near ready. But I also want you to pay attention. John video, it was shot by the homie Colin Tilley. He shot Look At Me Now, and he also shot the Mary J and Diddy video with me in it. This kid is edgy, man. I think he's about 22 or 23 years of age. This kid is good, man. When I shot the Look At Me Now video, I was envious. You know, I was mad that I was on a video that was that damn good, and it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I looked around and noticed I was standing on top of an ambulance, and they had somebody doing donuts on a motorbike. They had another dude on a skateboard doing tricks. They had people around a bonfire. They had people dancing. Everybody was dressed cool. I got Busta and Chris up here. Chris doing some moves with his body I didn't even know your body could do. Busta up here. This is history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I looked around. When he said action, all that went on during action. Everything I just named, all that was going on during one single action. They had a building right there. He had people in the windows of the building. Like, I'm like, how do you sound? Like, this is just great. And then when it was time to shoot my verse, my solo scene, he had the Back to the Future car. Where did you find that?
Yeah.
Where do you find that for a video? So I was like, this guy need to shoot my next video. So I had the John song, and you know, I just put John out there. Of course, it's just a club banger. It's just something to see. You know,
Ross.
It's just something raw, because it's not gonna get. I know that it's not gonna get too much because of the lyrical content. It's not gonna get too much. You know what I mean? But it was just something to put out there.
You did a couple of things that I think people are going to be surprised, maybe even shocked. You know, one of the things you did is you answered a question that people have always asked you post spending time away. You know, but you did it in a really special way. Talk about that.
Yeah, I was. I knew that I knew because this was my Unplugged. I said I want to do some kind of tribute to, you know, one of those great artists, and you know, I said I could do something. I was like, I could do Biggie, and I was like, you know, and I was like, I could do Pimp C. That was Pimp C was my first choice. It's like, I'm gonna do something from Pimp C, and then, you know, then I said, but then I was like, but Pac, and I was like, you know, it's just something about Pac and I, you know what I mean, and people.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say me. I don't sit around saying that I got some kind of big old thing going on with me, but people. People do this. You remind me of, you know what I mean? I hate to say it, you know what I mean, because I don't like to put myself in the category of those who say that, because I don't want you to think I'm at home.
I said that to you.
I know you have. I know.
And I knew him personally. So
I know you the one. I know you told me that. My DJ as well, DJ 45, he knew him personally as well. He actually, you know, he felt some kind of way when we did that. When we rehearsed it like yesterday. What? He was like, you know, like, man, you know, they was like, don't cry, fo. You know, they was like, you know, that was strong. So I was like, you know what, that's the best way to do it. And I picked that second verse because I was like, it perfectly answers the question too. Because I had that point where I was gonna answer how it was, but I was gonna actually do it on Miss Me.
Okay.
And say something about, you know, and I'm just glad that you miss me while I'm gone, and then, you know, run into the song. But then I was like, nah, penitentiaries is packed with promise makers, and I was like, that whole verse is just perfect. I was like, never realized the precious time that they wasting. Institutional. It was just perfect, man.
It worked, right?
Yeah.
One thing I found interesting was the versions of some of the songs you did.
Yeah.
Lollipop, you know, it sounded like an acoustic version. And it seems like, you know, a lot of, the fans, there's something about acoustic that the fans seem to always like. What do you think that is? Is that why you did that?
I don't know about fans loving acoustic, because that was my first time doing that tonight. And I did it for the simple fact of, I got this kid out right now, just keep redoing all my songs and everybody else's song as well. You just do it acoustic. You know what I'm talking about, this kid?
He's
on the internet.
On the internet,
yeah, like he's doing 6 foot, 7 foot, a milli, but he does it like that, you know, like, like, you know what? Let's do that like that this time. I was like, you know, when we was for real, I was like, you know, don't throw the drums in at all. Let's just keep it mellow like that. He's gonna rock all the way through like that. And I got the beautiful Chanel up there with me in case my vocals would have went anywhere they wasn't supposed to go. She was gonna help me. And I think I liked it. I mean, I loved it in rehearsal. In rehearsal, I loved it. I mean, I actually went to sleep last night, and when I thought about performing today, that was what I was thinking about. Like, I can't wait to do that part.
Yeah, you kind of singing now.
I ain't singing. My mom always called it straight. I mean, when I say my mom, I don't mean my mother. I mean Miss Betty Wright. The beautiful Miss
Miss
Betty
Betty
Wright.
Wright, the
Yes,
legend.
the legend, Miss Betty Wright. She always told me, she said, you have a distinctive voice, period. I took a vocal lessons with her before. She was like, you have a distinctive voice, period. She's like, anybody with a distinctive voice, all you have to do is learn how to use it. And she's like, just learn how to stretch it. She's like, it ain't for you to hoop and holler. It ain't for you to sing and make somebody cry with your, you know what I mean? She's like, because you already do that with your words. And she was like, the people that do that scream and she's like, that's because what they saying probably don't mean a damn thing.
Wow.
She's like, it's because it's the way they saying it touched you. She's like, but you know, she's like, you create. She's like, you keep creating. And she was like, as much as you create, and also Miss Chanel, she helped me with this too. She told me, she was like, it's not about singing. It's about expressing the emotion that you had when you thought of whatever you thought of. And so that's all I do.
I bet when people see your stage show from this Unplugged, I think they're going to have a similar reaction to it, because I think this show shows that you're not just a rap star.
Okay.
You're something else
Yeah.
too as well. How did you plan on what songs were going to be on your set list?
Honestly, you know, my best friend Cortez, you all know who that is. He sent me a list, and it was a wish list. And he was like, you know, if there's anything on here you don't want to do, anything on here you think we should do, and that's just how we went about it. You know, I pulled a few songs, and I added a few songs, and that's just how we did it like that. I didn't want it to be too thought out and too drawn out, because then that's when it looks too much, it looks too planned, and it looks like it's a show. I think what I just gave them out there, I think it feels like we just was up there, I'm the artist, I got the band, play a song and I'll sing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real natural.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they do the Unplugged, they bring out, you know, some of the biggest names to join them, you know, and you expect to almost see like a smorgasbord of artists that have stepped on the stage, but you didn't necessarily do that with your Unplugged. You know, why not, first of all?
If you ever go to a Lil Wayne show, period, you'll see that he as an I don't bring nobody on stage unless they're Young Money. And if they're in the town that night, if they're not Young Money and they're just an artist that I've done a song with, and they're in the town that night, you know, they ask, man, let me come out, then yeah, I do so. But if you go to a Lil Wayne show and you a real Lil Wayne show, you'll know he's up there from start to finish by himself. No hype man, ain't got nobody screaming over the mic with me. I just never been about that, because I was always in a group with 3 other guys when I was coming up. I mean, that's the 3 guys I was in a group with. Then you got to also count Manny Fresh and Baby. They were on the same stage as well.
Yeah.
So we were like Wu-Tang up there, man. Everybody had a mic. You can't really understand what nobody's saying. And I remember Juvie used to have meetings after the shows and he'd be like, you know, I don't want nobody else on the mic when I'm doing my part. And we took offense to that. You know, we would be like, what you mean? And we'd be like, well, tell me I don't want nobody on the mic with him. What we think he is, he want to be by himself. But when we thought, he's like, no, because it doesn't sound good. We didn't get it. He's like, it doesn't sound good, man. He's like, it's 5 of us up there, and it sounds like it's 5 of us up there. It's like, when it's one person's turn, it should be one person's turn. Well, I take that in stride, and when I hear that it's a Lil Wayne show, it's one person's turn, the whole show. You feel me? So that's why I don't. And also, I also don't bring a lot of people up there because, simple and plain, this was MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
And this was Lil Wayne's MTV Unplugged. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. Just like the reason why I ain't do nothing from none of my mixtapes.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing from No Ceilings, nothing from none of the mixtapes, because I'd be damned if you played another person's songs on my set tonight.
That's why you didn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
That made sense.
Yeah.
Okay.